Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. So we're gonna hop straight into it. I'm using Fenty Beauty's concealer to start off this contouring process. If you watched my previous video, I did a blending tutorial using strictly powder products, or should I say mostly powder products. So this time I'm going to be using cream. So I pretty much put the concealer the same places that I put in the previous video, right at the corner of my eyes, and then towards the end of it to give myself a lift, the bridge of my nose, the tip of my nose, my forehead, and then on my chin. And now I'm going to use this cream foundation stick from Juvia's Place, and I'm going to basically follow my bone structure of where like my cheeks are. So that's basically how you contour. Like, you contour to the shape of your face, like to the bone structures of your face. A tip to figure out like the type of bone structure you have along your cheeks: just turn whatever brush you're using over on the other side and like just press down on your cheeks so you can feel the bone, so you can feel where the bone is. And that's how you are going to figure out how to place your contour on your cheeks, because it's different for everyone. The way I do mine probably isn't going to be the way that you do yours. Could be, but sometimes it may not be. So just figure out the anatomy of your face first before you start the contouring process. So I did my cheeks, and then I went along my forehead, and now I am doing my jawline. This is not necessary, but if you want that extra contour coverage to like cover up, like let's say like a double chin or something like that, then definitely do that contour along your cheekbones. Oh, excuse me, your jawline. And next I went ahead and contoured my nose, and I like to bring my contour up to my eyes. I believe I mentioned this on the previous video as well. I like to bring the contour up my nose and onto my eyes to make it look like some eyeshadow, like neutral everyday eyeshadow. That is definitely a hack that I'm going to be using for a long time. I use it on myself and on my clients. So yeah, that is how I like to contour my nose. Moving on to blush, I'm going to be using Milk Mini Cream Stick, and I'm going to place that right on top of that contour, and I'm going to place it right on top of the contour across my forehead, and I am going to put some on my nose. It may be a little unorthodox, but I like the way it looks. So I spray my sponge. I spray the booty part of my sponge, and then I start tapping in the concealer, blending it in. I do tap and slightly swipe, but mostly tap. And I am blending it in a little bit with that blush to get the blending process with that started as well. And then I'll go ahead and blend in everywhere else that I have the contour outside of my nose. I use a brush to blend in my nose, but my cheeks, jawline, and my forehead, I use the booty of my sponge. And for my nose, I'm going to blend that out with the brush that I used earlier. Now, I do wipe off the excess cream because I don't want my nose to be too dark. And then I go back in and start blending. Careful not to blend that concealer because I'm not ready for that step yet. Now I'm ready to blend my concealer. I do it this way because it's just better for blending, in my opinion. It may seem backwards, but doing it this way, in my opinion, it helps everything to blend in. Like, it blends in with the blush and it blends in with the contour, and I have less work to do to get rid of the harsh lines. So that is why I do it that way. And I'm still going to go in and do a bit more blending with the brush in a little bit, but doing the contour first. Yeah, see, there's the brush right there that I'm gonna go back in with and start blending my nose and my eyes. But yeah, blending the concealer and the blush first, and then the concealer last. It just allows for me to work smarter and not harder. I avoided those harsh lines, so now I just have a little bit to do and I can move on. So at doing this step, once I get to the bridge of my nose to blend out that concealer, I am going to lose a bit of that contour, but it's no big deal. After I blend it out, I just go back in and add whatever contour that I took off, basically. So yeah, if you notice that when you get to the bridge of your nose and you blend out that concealer and you lose some contour, no problem. Just go back in and add a little bit more. Be careful not to do too much. So now I am going to set my concealer. I always set my concealer before I bake. Now I am going to set my contour, and I'm going to use Fenty bronzer, and I'm basically gonna put that on top of the cream contour. Everywhere I use the cream contour, I'm gonna set it with my bronzer. Now I'm going to take my sponge that I blended out my concealer with and pat over my jawline, just so it's not looking super harsh. And now I'm going to set my nose with the same Fenty Beauty bronzer. And I'm going to be careful not to put too much, because like I said earlier, I don't like my nose looking super dark. So, but I still do need to set it though. And then I add a little bit more to my eyes. And now I'm going to set the cream blush using Juvia's Place palette. This is my favorite blush palette to use right now. Same as I did for the contour, I'm going to do the same thing with the blush. Everywhere I use blush, cream blush, I'm going to go ahead and set it with my powder blush. And I go ahead and spray some Morphe spray before I move on. Morphe setting spray, excuse me. So now I am going to bake with Laura Mercier loose setting powder. So earlier I did not bake. I just set my concealer because I have fine lines. And I do that as like extra protection against the fine lines. So for me, I set my concealer first and then I go back and bake. And then I don't even bake for that long. Like I'll probably leave it on there for like a minute, not even that. And then I will, as I'm doing here, I will go ahead and wipe off the excess powder. Because again, I do not want that powder to set in my fine lines. This is optional. I love doing this. I like putting mascara on my bottom lashes because it's just, I don't know, it gives the look more of a pop, you know, gives it a little character. So yeah, this step is definitely optional. And now I am going to pretty much just set my whole face with this powder. I got this powder palette from, I don't even know how to say it, y'all, but I had it on the screen. I got it from them off Instagram. But I'm going to set my face, and I'm going to be careful not to cover up my blush and my contour with it because it will drown it out. Now I'm going to add the finishing touches, which is my highlight. I love this highlight from Juvia's Place. So I'm going to set that on top of my contour and blush, the bridge of my nose, on the tip of my nose, and my forehead. And I'm going to line my lips with this Sephora lip liner. I think it's in the tone of Molasses. I love me a good dark brown pencil. It's my absolute favorite. And I do overline my lips a little bit because I have naturally smaller lips. And I want a little more fullness. So I do overline my lips a little bit. And I'm going to be using Fenty Gloss Bomb. That's one of my favorite glosses to use, and this is optional as well, but I like my under eyes to look just a little bit bright. So I went back and added the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless finishing powder, and this is a pressed powder. It's not loose, so you don't have to wipe off any excess powder with this. And now I'm going to set my face with Badescu facial spray, and this is the aloe and herbs and rose water spray. It smells so good, y'all. I absolutely love it. I think I used it on the last video as well. But that's it, y'all. Nice and simple. That is my tutorial on blending with cream and liquid products. Let me know what y'all think down below. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and I'll see y'all in the next video.